Alright, looks like we've caught ourselves another AFK Router here. This is an APOC Navy, and we've gotten him down into about half armor. We're using our Chameleon, so we're going to have to be a little bit tighter on our orbit here. With about a 20... Oh, no, he's red boxing us. He's not AFK anymore. He's going to target us. Okay, we'll see how well our target... Oh, that's a huge hit. Okay, activate the DCU here, just in case that was a lucky hit. Probably just got through our tracking disruptor real quick there. We'll widen our orbit a little bit. Maybe, hopefully not too far, though. We might lose him on this next go-around. Oh, he's still hitting us. Okay, maybe that's the NPCs. So we might be okay here. No, we're in the armor. Okay, no. That's not a lucky hit. That's not a lucky hit. Let's get out of here. Okay, nope. That's... Okay, this is not looking good. Warp, 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 warp. Oh.
Warp drive active.
I didn't like that ship anyway. Hello pilots, and welcome to another Eve Echoes video. I've been getting a lot of questions about my Ashimmu build, so I thought it would be best to start this one off with just the mods, the rigs, the implant, and everything that I used to put this ship together. If you're not interested in seeing how the Ashimmu flies, how I fly it, go ahead and skip forward and just skip this part with the build advice. But if you are interested, stick around. I got about 5 minutes. We'll go into depth on how I build this ship for PvP. Alright, so let's check out the high slots here. We've got 5 of the medium pulse lasers. This is the up close 16.88 kilometer range lasers. It's got about a 6.9 kilometer fall off on that. So it's more of a mid-range ship. We've got double MK9 large energy Nosferatus, and these things you want to kind of alternate how they're used. You want to click on one, wait for a couple seconds, and then click on the other one. Went with the cheaper metal level 6 warp disruptor there, and a Republic Fleet stasis webifier. You can upgrade those to the longer range ones, but I don't think it's worth the ISK investment to get those because you're going to die a lot in this ship. Got a small drone on here, but I actually don't have any small drone skills, so I'm going to switch that to a medium drone later, and you'll see my DPS go up to about 740-ish. It's not a huge difference, but I absolutely have 0 small drone skills, so you won't... This is not what I would normally run on this. It just kind of gets stuck there. Okay, we're going to throw the DCU in the low slot here. And I've got 2 C-type medium armor repairs. It's great to have those C-type ones on there for the extra repair amount. We'll go into that into the rigs in a little bit. And finally, I finished it up with an afterburner. I would like to use a micro warp drive, but it just doesn't fit power grid wise. You can see we're almost completely capped out on power grid. For the combat rigs, I've got 1 of the activation time adjustments, the nanobot accelerators, and 2 of the auxiliary nanopumps on the combat side. For the engineering side, we've had to go with the power grid 3s all the way across. And I had to go with all 3 3s, even though I have max skills to fly this ship. It's just so tight on the power grid. So if you don't have max skills, you're probably going to have to downgrade those C-type armor repairs, which is going to hurt the performance of your ship overall. You can also downgrade the afterburner, but I don't recommend downgrading anything if you can help it. For the nanocore, I've just got a simple Trailblazer nanocore. This is just something extra for a couple of extra bonuses to have onto the ship. It's not necessarily needed, but it's a nice little addition. If you really want to maximize this out, you can go ahead and gold core this and get that extra mid slot, but it's only going to be warp speed or inertia, which isn't really used for the Ashimmu anyway, so it's not a big deal to upgrade this to a gold core. And you can see here, without the nano core, it takes it down to about 652 DPS. So kind of low on the DPS side, but the object is not to burst them down. It is to outlast them. That is why we have the 2 large Nosferatus in the mid slots. Okay, we'll check out the implant real quick. And I do have a level 30 focus crystal. This is because of my heavy use of the Fiend ship. But you can see this also translates over to the Ashimmu. You're really going to need the highest level output boost armor repair GU you can get. I can only afford a level 6 right now, but if you can get a 10, definitely worth it to up the armor repair amount. And I use this one all the time. It does lower the range on your Nosferatu, but it makes it drain so much stronger, 30% extra. So very strong, especially on a ship that doesn't limit you to your capacitor drainage. The afterburner GU won't give us a whole lot of speed boost on this ship because we're just using a medium afterburner, but it's nice to have since we're still cap stable anyway. And the only other thing I could think to put on here was a damage control boost. This will just give us that extra little bit of resist while it's active. I didn't want to go with the damage control boost that increased the passive resist because it shortens the damage control time that it has active. Okay, since this is an armor tank, also we're going to switch it to the armor repair mode. And we're going to charge our implant faster by going with the rapid charge passive skill. This is basically going to give us an extra armor extender, so to speak. And remember, the higher implant level you can get, the more damage you're going to do. So you can shoot that DPS up a little bit more once we get it fully charged with the implant. So I think it gets up to around 1,000 fully charged, which doesn't take too long with the rapid charge ability. So not a crazy amount of DPS, but definitely something that's going to contribute to taking a ship out, putting pressure on its recharge, its boosters, or its repairs, and being able to drain their capacitor at the same time kind of wears them down over time. I have a little bit of upgrade materials here, but I don't think it's going to affect our level, so we'll just back out of here. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is the new passive implant. It's Tactical Defense. I got this one for free with the 4th anniversary giveaway. So I decided to power this up a little bit. It's just going to give you passive armor or shield repair mounts, extra resistances, resistance to capacitor warfare, and overall it just makes you a lot tougher. I highly recommend this. If you engage in PvP of any sorts, that implant is almost mandatory at this point to have. I went with the energy resistance passive on top there just for the extra capacitor recharge time. I'm not too concerned with the laser damage or decomposer damage. Nobody uses decomposers, and I'm an armor tank, so laser damage doesn't affect me too much. But the other ability, all it's going to do is increase the chance for the enemy to miss you, and since I'm not going fast anyway, they're not going to have a high amount of miss going on anyway. So I didn't feel like, and I don't really need the inertia modifier. This ship it's slow. It's really meant right now for me to just fight around gates or engage something and wear it down. I would like to get a purple implant at some point and get this up to level 30, specifically so I can get the reduction in drone damage. That's the one I think is going to be necessary for fighting drone ships, because there's just no other way to really mitigate the damage on them. You can't kite drones for the most part, so being able to reduce their damage overall is probably going to be one of the most valuable things about this implant. So that is my full Ashimmu build that everyone has been asking me for. That's how I'm going to run it for the foreseeable future. The difficult part about this ship is that I die a lot, because most of my engagements are going to be 2 versus 1s, 3 versus 1s, and just running gate to gate, trying to get people to attack me. And that's going to end up in a lot of deaths. So let's come over here to SRN space, and I am on a gate approaching, waiting for a ship to land. I know that this ship has kind of been hovering in the area for a while. I see it coming to this gate, but I don't want to fight it on this gate because it's going to be too close. So I'm going to go through, hopefully bait him through as well, and get him to be about 13, 14 kilometers off so that I can web him and hopefully take him out before he gets back. So this is a large battleship. This is Machariel, but I'm not too worried because I have such a high repair amount that this large ship damage weapons shouldn't be doing too much to me, and we can wear him down with the 2 Nosferatus. So you can see right there, he's about 13, 14 kilometers off the gate. We'll go ahead and web him with our extra long webs, start orbiting, and we are outside of his range for webbing us or scramming us as well. So this is perfect location for us to kind of orbit and sit around and try and drain him down. We do have more entering local here, so we're gonna have to watch out for any adds. But we're doing some great damage onto his shields. We're doing EM damage with, we got a succubus here. That's a little bit off the gate. I'm not too worried about that, especially for the extra DPS. I'm worried if it tackles me. But it looks like it's kind of just drifting away, so we might not have to deal with that succubus right now. Yeah, okay, so he's gonna warp off. Not sure if he just didn't want to deal with the fight here, or if this was called for a 1 versus 1. But we will continue to take down this Machariel, and as you can see, we're almost into armor, but I'm not too worried because that's where our main tanking ability comes from. The real question is this: if he has any batteries in the low slot. You can't drain the capacitor of an active battery. So if he has those active, if he has 1 or 2, then that's going to reduce our amount to completely cap him out. But as long as we're doing damage here and he's not able to heal. Oh, we got a Fiend. Oh, we're bubbled. Our Machariel friend has some backup here, and Fiend is one of the worst ships for me to engage with here. He's going to approach right on top of us, web us, and lock us down. So we're not going to be able to orbit this Machariel as fast, and we're going to take a lot more damage. We'll pop our implant ability there for the armor extender, but that's not going to be enough. We're going to have to activate that DCU pretty soon, right here. And our friendly neighborhood succubus has come back to engage in the fight. He's a little bit off, but we're just into the Machariel's armor, and we're going to take a reduction in damage fighting armor. We are webbed. That's going to be kind of rough. No point in switching over target. And we got a chameleon landing. So this is going to be one of those typical engagements where I just don't have the DPS to take out the ship I want fast enough. So as you can see, our build could probably hang up against the Macarial and maybe one more, but definitely not when 3 or 4 start coming. It's just, it doesn't kill fast enough for you to take out your targets before more add-ons come in. So good fight, and thank you for not dropping a capital there. Anything but a capital. Good job. Alright, let's hop back into the Fiend now that our Ashimmu is going to be on cooldown. And right now I'm running with a large afterburner with the scram and the web and the inertia and the blows, plus the extender. So this is very much a 1 versus 1 catch and a kill kind of ship. It's not going to be good for long-term battleship fights, and it's not going to be good for orbiting. Now my main goal is to be able to turn on that large afterburner, hit that inertia, and catch up to these slashers that keep orbiting me. But gosh darn it, these things are just so freaking fast and so hard to catch up to that it doesn't matter what I put on this Fiend, this thing is able to orbit me at a good 40 kilometers. So I don't know if this is typical or if this slasher is just overpropped, but man, I just, even going at like 5,000 kilometers per second, 6,000 kilometers, I'm not able to catch up to this ship. It just got too much inertia and too much ability to adjust to my approach. I was thinking about trying to beat it on a straightaway here and see if my top speed matches it by going around 8,000 meters per second, but then I'm going to be flying way too far away from the gate and I won't be able to get back in case multiple ships jump through. So I'm going to go ahead and change my mind here and reapproach the gate and just take this as a loss. I just don't think that no matter how I fit with the inertia and with a large afterburner, I'm not going to be able to take out these slashers. It's just one of the best tackle ships in the game. The only other thing I think that I could do to adjust to this would be to throw a large neutralizer in my mid slots, but then I'm going to either have to give up the scrambler or the web. So it's going to be a sacrifice. It's going to be something that we play with and figure out what works. But I honestly can't think of any other way to deal with a slasher that tackles us off a gate like this. One thing I am learning though is that slashers do not operate individually. They are always somebody else's ult or somebody else calling for help. So if you see a slasher try to tackle you off a gate, there's probably a ship coming from behind to catch up. They're just trying to hold you in place. Yep, there it is. There's a battleship. So we're going to go ahead and disengage from this fight. Good thing I haven't been trying to shoot it. And we're just going to have to hop right through the gate here and take off and call this a loss. So, man, just cannot deal with those slashers. Back to the drawing board on that. Moving over to Sino Space here, we've got a Prophecy Guardian who has decided to land on this gate. Again, I'm going to go through the gate because I don't want to fight him at 0 kilometers in case he gets jumpy and wants to warp through. We're going to come through here and try to catch him on the other side about 10 to 15 kilometers off the gate so that we can scram him, web him, and hold him in place. I'm still using the large afterburner, so I'm not going to be able to orbit. I'm going to have to approach and hope that my tank can outlast his. Being a Guardian, he shouldn't hit up too much DPS, but again, it's an armor Guardian, so we're not going to be doing a whole lot of application to him with our lasers. But first things first, let's see if he comes through the gate here. That looks like his name, so he's entering the area. Let's go ahead and come close to the gate, put up our bubble so he can't instantly warp off. Should be trapped within this 27 kilometer bubble, and as soon as he appears, we'll go ahead and tackle him about 10 kilometers off the gate and lock him down. We'll see how we do against the Guardian ship. They are going to be heavily defensive, so we'll see how our offense applies to this ship. And we'll go ahead and approach, scram and web. Okay, got him locked down. You can see we go right through his shields, but he's not going to have any shield resistance at all, so that's not a big deal. He is applying a NOS to us, which isn't too bad. At least it's not a neutralizer. Drones aren't doing too much damage to us. We do have that adaptive shield and that large extender. Oh, we got a battleship. Okay, so this is the problem with the large afterburner build. I am not able to maintain my orbit, and we're going to get disengaged from this real quick. So the way I disengage from this is just like a Voyage core, where they'll activate that core and shoot off into the distance. I'll pop that Dragon Chant and break their lock, and with that large afterburner, there's just no way that these big ships are going to catch us going at about 7,000 MS. Okay, so those are the kind of decisions you have to make like split second. I don't have time to decide if I'm going to continue this fight or not. If I would have stuck around, that Megathron may have webbed me down made it so that I couldn't really get away from him, or other adds might have come through the gate. But dealing with an armor guardian plus an armor tanked battleship when I can't orbit, not the most ideal situation. So we'll have to take that as a loss and move on. The large afterburner is fun, but it really doesn't fully optimize the way that this ship flies. So I think I might have to switch back to the medium once I can get back to home base. But for now, we're stuck in enemy territory, so let's warp away and see where we can go from here. A few jumps up to the north. I am in unsettled territory, but we've got a person that just entered local, so we're going to pop our bubble and wait on this gate and see what approaches. Hopefully catching some type of hauler, something we can make some money off of here. But honestly, anything except for a scepter at this point. As long as it's not a scepter, we can stop it with our bubble. And if it's too big of a ship, we can get out of this pretty easily with the large afterburner. Okay, ship landing here. We got a Cinnable. This is perfect. We're going to go ahead and approach him here. He's not going to have a cloak, so as long as we can do our approach, scram and web him here, we should be good to go. We are going to swing a little bit with that large afterburner. We're going to pass him up a little. But yep, okay, he's got double webs on us. He's going to engage us here, so this is good. We want him to engage us so that he hits that combat timer and he can't get through the gate. And as long as we have our approach set to 10 and our ship is set up pretty close to that 10 kilometer range, we shouldn't do a whole lot of swinging back and forth, especially because he has us double webbed. The large afterburner is going to be able to help us push through that double web, and you can see we're still able to maintain about 400 meters per second, even though he has 2 webs on us. So while we had to pop our shield extender right there, it's just something to give us a little extra momentum in this fight. He is going to pop his shield extender, but I'm pretty sure I have a lot more extended hit points than he does, especially because we've taken a huge chunk out of his armor already. So we'll burn down that extender there, and we always have our implant bonus to use if we get too low. So we'll go ahead and activate Dragon Chant here, try and finish him off, a couple more hits. Oh wait, no, that's going to break the webs. We're slingshotting. Nope, this is bad. I'd turn off my afterburner here, but we're going to need it to get back because now we're about 26, 27 kilometers off. Oh gosh, do not get away from the bubble. If this guy makes a break for the gate, we are so screwed. Okay, we're coming back. We're coming back here. We'll get up close. We'll go ahead and scram and web again, but we're going to slingshot right past him. Gosh, man, this damn afterburner. We're able to hold him in place, but we're not able to hold ourselves in place. He's going to go ahead and approach the gate. Okay, come on. One more hit. One more hit. Right here. Finish him off. No! Oh man, that Dragon Chant bit me in the ass there when I disengaged from his webs. We fully called on the god of physics and it slungshot us all over the place. Lost our grip on him and he managed to scoot through. So, bad luck so far. The struggle is real, guys. The struggle is real. Let's find another fight. Trying to make our way back to low sec here. We're sitting on a gate and somebody enters local, so we'll go ahead and pop our bubble, see what we can catch coming through. hopefully we can end up with a better engagement than the last Cinnable fight. We'll try not to pop the Dragon Chant when we're webbed and see how that goes. Let's see what ship runs into us here. We'll activate our Afterburner now just in case it's something that's going to come through this gate and I'm going to have to chase it. I want to have it active and going as soon as I want to hit that approach command. So we'll burn a little bit of capacitor just to have that extra bit of reflexes in case it's like a frigate, faction frigate or something that's going to try and get outside of our bubble range. Okay, let's activate the drone, see if it's something cloaked, just in case we get something bumping into its orbit range. You can set your drone orbit range to a wider arc to try and knock something into your bubble, but that doesn't work out too often. Let's see what we got here. Taking a long time, so probably not coming through this gate. No, he's gonna warp into our bubble. Oh, he is. He's right here. Okay, let's grab him. All right, go ahead and hit our approach. We will get into our optimal here, and he won't be able to get outside of our bubble because we are just too darn fast. So we will scram and web him in case he's using a micro warp drive. There we go, right in range. Doesn't look like he's fighting back yet, so we might just pop him real quick. He is yellow boxing. Okay, red box. He's got double NOS on us. This might be a tough engagement here. I'm really not set up to be capacitor drained. This is for a quick engagement, but if that thing outlasts us with those double NOS. You can see our large Afterburner doing a good job of keeping us in range though, even with the double webs he has. So we're able to maintain our optimal through double webs. That is the idea of this. Thank goodness now I have the large Afterburner. Okay, down into his armor, we are chunking him pretty good, but he's got some great reps going, just like our Ashimmu build. We're losing capacitor real quick here, so we're going to turn off our large Afterburner so it doesn't drain anymore. Hit our extender just to buy us that extra time. Okay, and it looks like we're going to have to do something a little desperate here. Let's try and maintain our optimal, but it's going to be really hard. So let's pop that Dragon Chant. We can do that now that our large Afterburner is off, so we're not going to slingshot. And as we maintain our range, he is deactivating his webs. So I don't know if he ran... Oh no, he deactivated them because of the Dragon Chant. Okay. That's going to allow us to scoot real slow out back into our optimal. And before he can lock us on again, we should be able to take him out. It looks like he's not able to NOS us now that he doesn't have us locked down. And yep, some nice hits coming through here with a fully charged implant. And we'll finish him off there. Very nice fight. Very tough. Had me down to about 17% capacitor at one point. So before we pop that Dragon Chant, which I think was the thing that enabled us to edge him out in that fight. Ashimmus are just so tough, 1 versus 1. So great fight there. And he probably should have had that had I not had that nanocore capability. Good fight. Great engagement. Okay, so we learned from our mistakes from the Cinnable fight. We deactivated that large Afterburner before we hit Dragon Chant, so it wasn't going to slingshot us after his webs came off, and we were able to kind of maintain that orbit, or not the orbit, but the optimal range there, and finish him off while he wasn't able to target us. So learn from your mistakes, learn from my mistakes, and yeah, just great engagement. It's not too often that I fight cruisers on gates 1 versus 1, so I'm really happy how this turned out. Going to be our first kill. Hopefully it gets us a little bit of momentum here, and we'll warp to a safe spot. Go ahead and check the loot.
Warp drive
Not bad, about 144 million in loot. Very good. Looks like he was doing some ratting there, picking up some blues, maybe some some dead spaces in his Ashimmu. So we grabbed that loot from him. Check out the kill mail here. Oh, not too bad. 1.8 billion. Very nice. So it looks like he was going with the double medium armor repairs with a micro warp drive, so he wasn't moving too fast with the scram on him. Double Imperial Navy large NOS. Very strong. Double webs. Very cool. Honestly, a really nice, solid bill for running dead spaces. Just, if you're going to engage in PvP with this, you're going to need some type of disruptor or scram in order to hold your opponents in place. But very cool. Very nice fit. I like that. All right, let's keep going. On to the next fight. Okay, I'm over here in TSC space, and I've been challenged to a 1 versus 1 at the Sun by the Rosa. And I know the Rosa player from when I was in TSC. He likes to run Cinnable, so I'm hoping this is going to be a good fight. I do have a scram and a web, and we still running that large Afterburner to kind of keep our range. Oh, he's bringing a chameleon. Okay. Definitely not the ideal matchup, but we'll go ahead and engage this here and see what we can do to a chameleon. He is pretty far off, but with our large Afterburner, we are going to be able to catch up to him real quick here. Let's hit our approach at 10 kilometers, activate our speed mod, and jump real quick. You can see 4,500, 5,000 MS. We're going to get onto him real quick. I don't want to engage him too long when he has that long range advantage with the drones. So we will get right up on top of him. He's not going anywhere. We got a scram and a web on him. Oh, he's got double tracking disruptors on us. Unbelievable. This is why I don't take 1v1s at the sun. He probably knew exactly what ship I was flying here. So double tracking disruptor is going to lower our range to 3.56 optimal, which is absolutely absurd. My shield extender is almost done, and I am not able to hit him at all. I don't think I've hit him once, so we're just going to go ahead and disengage here. This is not worth it. I am not set up to fight this ship. And again, the beauty of this build is that if you're fighting somebody that you're faster than and you want to get away, you can just go ahead and hit that dragon chant. Yeah, you can see even with that web and the scram on him, I'm just not able to even touch him with double tracking disruptors on me. So we'll hit the dragon chant, we'll break his lock so he can't use the drones against us as we fly away, and we'll get a good distance and warp off. So yeah, see, you can see already into my armor. Very, very strong built chameleon, almost specifically to counter everything I was running. And like you saw with that double tracking disruptor, just absolutely bodied by that ship. Do not underestimate that mod. If you can fit it in your mid slots on your PvP ship, definitely fit it. It will give you a huge advantage against any railgun, cannon, laser ship that you're engaging with. So good fight to the Rosa, and I'm going to go ahead and warp off and find another fight. All right, we are scanning down another target, and it is a Dominic's Navy issue. So this is going to be our second Dominic's Navy issue I've taken on in my Fiend. A really important key to fighting the ships is knowing what type of drones he's going to be using. If he's using the mobile drones, you're going to have to take those things out before they do too much damage to you. And if he's using the drones that don't move at all, you're able to kind of pick them apart. So we'll warp in here, see if we can get a good lock on and a good disruption bubble around him quickly, and then check out what drones he's using and adjust our strategy accordingly. These drone ships, Dominic's Navy issue, Rattlesnake, even the new faction Cobra, going to be very difficult and very risky to engage when those drones are going to be mobile, because our ability to kite and mitigate the damage is going to be pretty much mute. So we'll see what we warp in at here. Not good, not a good position. We are about 120 kilometers away from his ship, but instead of moving towards him for 100 and something kilometers, we're going to move away and then use our scan to warp to him quickly. So let's double tap into the distance here, get some range. We got to be over 150 kilometers away from our target in order to warp back to him. And if we just keep tapping this, eventually our ship will reach that range and we'll just start our warp. So we'll keep going here. Warp. There we go. So once it says start warping, we know we're good to go. And you can see we're over 150 kilometers, so our ship's going to warp right on top of him here. Okay, let's get in nice and close. And very good. So it looks like he's doing some ratting. I don't know if he's AI ratting or not, but he's definitely not warping away in time. So we're able to get our bubble off, trap him, get in nice and close. And now that we're in close, we can actually see that the drones he's using are the prototype guard drones. These are going to be the sentry drones, and useful for ratting, but not good for defending yourself in PvP because they are completely immobile. So once you drop those things, the only way you can scoop them back up is if you're right next to them. And they have very poor tracking. So since he's caught about 30 kilometers away from those drones, he's going to have a hard time scooping them back up to re-engage us. It does look like he's red boxed us, so he is trying to attack, but you can see the tracking on those sentry drones just not even going to have a chance to hit us going 28 kilometers, meters a second, 2800 meters a second around this target. So right now we're looking pretty good. Doesn't look like he has any E-War on us active. We'll see if he pops a neutralizer or something else that can disrupt us. We're outside of scram range, outside of web range, so that's perfect. And also just to mention, I have switched back to the medium afterburner and the large NOS, so we're back to our normal ratting fit. And we are doing a great job here of engaging this Dominic's Navy. He's about, I want to say 50 kilometers off of his drone, so no chance of scooping those there. I don't know if he has a prop mod or not, but it doesn't look like he's even trying to head back to those. And yeah, you can see they're red boxing us, but has no chance of hitting us. Looks like he has some kind of command module in the mid slot, so that might be taking up one of his slots for using like a large neutralizer to kind of deter us. So that's good because not I'm not going to be worried about that affecting us. The one downside is that this is taking a lot longer than I want it to. So if he has any help coming, or if he's calling for assistance, this might be taking a little bit too long to get him out before people come and arrive. But we're wearing him down pretty good. Almost halfway through armor here. He is armor tank ship, but we're doing great on capacitor. Hasn't even touched us once with those sentry drones, and we have a large enough orbit on him that we're going to be able to get away pretty quickly if anything warps in. I also changed my implant to the higher total damage output, so we're up to 84% bonus on that focus crystal implant. So we're going to be laying into him really well, really nice damage. Even though I'm only doing 1,000, 1,400 per hit here, that's mostly because it's EM damage going into armor. And he is pretty tanky. This is one of the more tanky battleships that I've fought. So it looks like he did not go full DPS ratting. But this is a perfect example of why, if you're planning on flying one of these ships, maybe a rattlesnake, you always want to have those mobile drones to switch to, and you always want to be ready to warp away if you are using those sentry drones. You should be approaching the citadel, and if an enemy kind of warps into the system, if you see it pop up in local, just warp back to the station, because you can see what happens when he gets too far away from these sentry drones. You're just completely unable to even change. Even if he has backup drones that could track us better, he can't even switch to them because they can't come back to his ship. Probably wouldn't matter too much if he had like a large micro warp drive or a large afterburner. He could get to him relatively quick. I don't have him webbed or scrammed, but it doesn't look like he's even making an effort to go and pick them up. So this, you never know. This might be his first time taking this ship out, and he's just trying some things out. He is relatively tanky though. This is taking a lot longer than I'm comfortable with. Even though we are switched to our DPS spec on the Fiend, you can see it just, these battleships have so much health. It takes a long time. It's very risky to put yourself in this situation. Kind of vulnerable to any warp-ins, any stealth ships. They're going to sneak up behind you too. But overall, this is doing pretty well. We've got him down into about 1/4 of his armor now. Doesn't look like he's really repping very much. It's just taking a long time. It could be just a passive tank, high resist Dominix, especially if he has a command module in the mid slots here. Let's take a look about how much DPS we're doing with our heatsink active. This is one heatsink and full implant, 2,800 DPS. So we've got great numbers for our offensive output. He's just so tanky. So we will continue to do our orbit. Looks like we're wearing him down here. Nobody's warping in. A couple other people in local, but nobody's really coming in here. So once we get into hull, this should be pretty much a done deal. Yep, doing more damage now that we're in hull. He's got less resistance. Oh, that's a nice hit, 7,500. Okay, we'll get ready to approach and pick up the loot, because I don't think he can do anything to us, even if we get really close. Oh, we got a ship coming in here. Looks like a Omen. Don't know if it's an Omen 2, Omen Navy, not sure. But it's 122 kilometers off. And we do have that bubble, so if he tries to warp to his friend, it's going to bounce off of our bubble, and we should have enough time here to finish off this Dominix. Especially going in a straight line approach command, we're going to be doing more damage than our orbit. We'll go ahead and lock on that ship and see. Yep, finish off the Dominix here. Let's pick up the loot. Okay, turn off our bubble so that we can warp away if needed. It doesn't look like that cruiser is going to engage us, but I got to tell you, I'm not afraid of that cruiser at all, and I'd actually kind of like to engage it. Even though he's a little bit close to the NPCs here, I'm also not really worried about the NPCs. So once we pick up this loot here, nice, got the Siege Tactical Module. Okay, let's see, about 126 kilometers off, but he's close to the Anomaly Center. So let's try and warp to the Anomaly Center here. Actually, no, we can't warp to it because it's 126. But let's approach, let's see if we, oh no, we got a second ship here. And the Omen warps off as the Science C drops, and we are going to skedaddle as well. So actually a little bit lucky on our timing there, because if I would have had that Omen engaged and he locked me down, this capital ship would have torn us to pieces. So not bad. Pretty good. We got our ship kill, we got our loot, and we are out safe. Nice. Let's get to a safe spot, and we will check out the total loot and the kill mail.
Autopilot engaged.
Ah, very nice. We do have those needle jacks in there, but not counting the needle jacks, looks like we got about 800 in loot, 800 million in loot. Very nice. That's a good kill. That's a good score for us. Definitely in need of some loot drops here. My loot drop luck has been pretty poor. So let's get to a safe location, kind of see where we're going to go next, and we will check out that kill mail and see what we ended up with.
Warp drive active.
Oh, very nice. 12 billion ISK kill mail for this Dominic's Navy issue. Gonna save that. Check out his fit real quick. Yep, 3 large armor repairs in the mid slots there. Very tanky ship and the gold core. All right, on to the next fight. Okay, moving back to Delve here. We're scanning down some targets, and we've got double mining ships. We got an Orca and a Covetor 2 in the same belt. So let's try and get to these real quick. See if we can get a double kill maybe. I don't know. It depends on the fit of that Orca. If he's going to be tanky, this might be pretty rough because we got 23 people in local. I decided to switch it up and go to a large neutralizer and a battery in the low slots to deal with any small frigates that might be trying to tackle me. See if we can kind of deter them from locking us down so we can get away. And I kind of needed that because we're going to be in a very busy traffic system. I assume something's going to kind of warp in and disrupt us when we're trying to take out a big target. So we'll see how well that does. I did put a large extender on here instead of the booster as well to kind of save some capacitor since we're not going to be running the large NOS. Okay, perfect. So we got both mining ships here. Both of them are going to be right on target and bubbled. Perfect. So I could go for the Covetor 2 first, but I really want to get that Orca because I think that's going to be the prime target. If we can get that down before anybody responds, that would be better than just getting the Covetor kill and then having to warp away. So let's focus fire on the Orca here, get our orbit going, maybe neutralize it a little bit, see if we can wear down its defenses, and see if we can kill it before anybody responds. Orca is a great target for the Fiend because the Fiend is going to be doing heavy EM damage and most Orcas are going to be shield tanked. I don't know if anybody's thought of doing an armor tanked Orca or not. I haven't seen anybody build it like that. Most of them are going to be building it shield tanked. And we are doing pretty good damage to his shields, almost halfway through here. But not quite as fast as I would like for the amount of population that's in this system. So looks like we won't be bursting this thing down as quick as I want to. Taking the ship out would probably be a lot quicker if I had my double heatsink offensive combo fit to this ship, but right now we went a little bit more defensive in case we engage any cruiser or smaller ships. So we took a little bit of hit to our DPS. I did go ahead and activate that Dragon Chant Nanocore early because it doesn't seem to prevent me from getting killed when I'm in open space. It's great for having it available when you're on a gate, but if you're going to use it to fight a target, it's almost better to just activate it early and then get that 30-second cooldown off if you have to warp away. Really be able to use it for that DPS boost and not have to rely on it for getting away from ships in open space. I would say that pretty much anything that warps in here, I'm either going to be able to get away from it or going to be tackled by it, and Dragon Chant is not going to help me get away from a frigate like a succubus or something that locks me down. So working our way in here. Oh, we got a ship coming in. And just as I'm getting comfortable taking on this Orca, we've got the capital drop here. So we're going to turn off our warp bubble, go ahead and approach a planet in the distance and try to warp away before this ship locks us down. Okay, he's locking us here. Warp, warp, warp. And okay, we're safe. So better than losing our ship. We lost our targets. We lost out on that double kill, but we didn't lose our ship. So good job to the members of this group for responding and defending their ships. That's what you got to do, especially when you have this many people in local. But this seems like a hot spot. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and find a safe spot, log out, and try again tomorrow morning.
Yeah, this is a real swell place you got here. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I like sleepovers.
Yeah, me too.
Yep, this is great. Good night, Squidward.
Good night, SpongeBob.
All right, we are back, and it is a full 24 hours later. We're going to go ahead and log into that same system that we had the high population in local and see if we can catch anything sleeping. Still sleeping in here. Most commonly known as a log-off trap. I went and logged out in this system, and we're going to go ahead and do our scan as soon as we stop our warp in and see if we can catch anybody before they see us coming. Normally, alliances will post if somebody's coming down a pipe or from a long distance, but since we logged out in the system, they're not going to get any warning at all. And as long as we can find a good anomaly here, let's check this asteroid belt, see if we can find that Coveter Orca combo again. Oh, no, okay. Asteroid Apocalypse Navy. So it looks like we accidentally clicked on the cosmic anomaly, or it was just too close and we scanned it down anyway. Kind of lucked out on that one. We'll go ahead and warp in on this Apocalypse Navy, see if we can take it out. There's only 7 people in local, 6 counting myself, plus myself. So a lot better than having the 24 in local last time we were here. We're going to have to hope that this ship isn't fit too defensively, because I know there's going to be a really good response time to this system once they see my name pop up in local. Okay, so we'll warp into this anomaly here, see how far off of the APOC we are. Looks like we are warping in pretty close, not too bad. Almost within bubble distance, so perfect. So we'll turn on our bubble and afterburner over to him real quick before he can warp off. Get our nice 16-17 kilometer orbit going. And as far as I know, Apocalypse Navy issues, most battleships have a hard time tracking me when I'm going this fast, so I'm not too worried about this ship hitting me. It's not locking on yet. Could be AI ratting, could be just, watching the chat every once in a while to see if anybody's coming. It's gonna spawn a new wave, but looks like it's the last wave of this anomaly, so nothing to threaten us, just mining ships. One thing that is underrated about this Fiend is the amount of capacitor that it has, so we can activate this large neutralizer for a few ticks and see if we can get him to turn off any defenses or the ability to repair without completely hurting our capacitor. Plus we have that battery as a backup. So with the reduction in capacitor that our medium afterburner is going to take, it does allow you to fit that large newt and kind of really punish your opponent if they're trying to be tanky. I'll probably start carrying this a lot more often just because I haven't really needed the large NOS. You can tell from most of my fights I'm over 50% capacitor anyway, but it does prevent smaller ships, maybe help us a little bit more defensively against the smaller ships that are trying to tackle us if we do get pinned down. So we'll go ahead and burst through his shield and halfway through his armor. Now looks like we're doing some pretty good damage. This is definitely a ratting fit APOC Navy, not a tank fit. Still charging our implants up. We don't have a heat sink, so we can't really charge our implant quickly, but we are going to reach top damage at around 52-53%. Again, I'm going to activate that Dragon Nanocore early just to get that extra DPS boost, and because it's not really going to help us with escaping when we're in open space anyway, let's just go ahead and try and get this ship down as fast as possible before response arrives. Okay, now that the enemies are clear and he can't warp away, I'll be curious to see if he comes back to the game here. Yeah, it looks like he's yellow boxing us here. AI routing won't do that. It won't lock onto a player, so we know this person is back to their ship and he's red boxed us now. So we'll go ahead and hit him with a couple more large newts, activate our battery just so it doesn't affect us. Just has a target painter, so it doesn't look like he's going to have any E-War to drain us as well. And we should just be able to continue what we're doing. At this point, he's probably calling for help though. So we got to be careful of any warp-ins. Watch local, see if there's any spikes, and be ready to jump if we need to. Our DPS is reduced a little bit now. We're doing about 1,000 instead of 2,000, so it's possible they activated any defenses they might have in the low slots. But I don't see any repairs going on or any armor extenders. So once we get this person into hull, should be good to go. At this point, my eyes are just moving back and forth from the local list to the ship's health to checking our capacitor, seeing if anybody's landing on grid. I'm just looking at everything in the peripheral to see if anything pops up that I need to be worried about. You never want to get too comfy. You never want to think you have the fight won before it's over. So we're just going to be prepared for anything that could come at us. He's still red boxing us, but there's no way he's going to be able to hit us here. We'll turn off that large newt just because it doesn't seem to be draining him anyway, and I don't think he has any repairs going regardless. So we might as well save capacitor just in case something tackles us. Okay, getting down here, almost into hull. Hull is the exciting part. That's when you start really laying the damage in. Okay, we got +1 in local here. Might be someone coming to help. See if we can finish this off before anybody warps in on us. Doing about 3,000 damage per hit now. Much better. 3,400. Come on, let's wrap it up. I don't want to approach right now because this is a large laser ship. It wants you to approach and come in a straight line. So we'll continue our orbit, even though we really want to finish this off before anybody warps in. Okay, getting him to about half hull now. 4,000, nice hits. There we go. Let's take him down. This log off trap really seemed to work out for us pretty well. And in a heavy populated system like this, it's gonna be one of your best assets. Much better than trying to navigate long ways through enemy sov or people's homes. They're gonna call you out really early. Okay, one more hit. Let's get ready to loot. There we go. Lots of conquered missions complete. Perfect. This must be pretty valuable then. Okay, let's pick up the loot here. Nothing too spicy with that. No one's warping in here, so we can kind of take our time, turn off our disruptor, take out the pod, get the extra kill mark. And we'll go ahead and clean up the area just so it's like they left it. Okay, so warp bubble off. Let's go ahead to a safe spot, check out the kill mail, check out the loot. All right, about 33 million in loot, some blues in there. I can actually use some of this gear, so I'll probably end up saving it instead of selling it. Let's get to a safe spot, let the kill mail tick, see what we got here. Oh, 17 billion. What was on this thing? Let's take that screenshot. Oh. B-type heatsink not dropping. Why do you hate me, game? Oh my goodness. Well, good kill mail. I'm not gonna complain about that. At least I wasn't the one that lost the ship. 17 billion in kill mail there. Nice fight. And I'll take it, I guess. Gosh, I have the worst luck, I swear. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I've got some side distractions I want to get to. I got one of the new faction battleship boxes in my inventory collecting dust, so we're going to choose which one of those I'm going to go with. I also want to get involved in some of the new faction warfare in low-sec. We're going to dive into that and check it out and see how that works for a solo player. Want to give a quick thank you to a couple of my September sponsors. I'll put their names up here on the screen. Thank you very much for your donations and your help. This will help me go a long way in my solo adventures and making more content. And as always, if you like the video, go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button, and check back more for more content later on. If you want to talk game strategy or sponsor me for future content, feel free to hit me up in-game at Growmeyer or on Discord at the same name. Until then, fly safe and have fun.